In the last few years, the advances in AI have skyrocketed. And in late 2022, ChatGPT was launched by a company called OpenAI. Essentially, ask it anything you want and it'll generate a response. Such as, is Eliud Kipchoge the best runner ever?
Eliud Kipchoge is widely regarded as one of the greatest runners of all time, but it is impossible to definitively say that he is the best runner ever.
Will AI eventually take over the world?
No, artificial intelligence is a tool that can be used to enhance the world, but it will not take over.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. But let's step things up a notch and ask, what is the safest way to run without getting injured? Once I typed this in, ChatGPT threw out 10 dot point answers. So I'll be reviewing every suggestion that GPT says, and I'll be giving each statement a thumbs up or a thumbs down based on the current research and based on my comprehensive understanding of running related injuries. I'll give my honest opinion, but overall, I was actually pretty impressed with the stuff that it's spilt out, especially number 9, which generally health professionals don't talk about. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and kick off AI suggestion number 1.
Start slowly. Begin with walking and gradually increase your running distance and speed over time.
This already is a big thumbs up for me because the vast majority of running related injuries fall within the overuse category. Essentially, doing too much too soon. And I was in this basket too. Within the first 12 months of my running journey, I had 3 significant injuries, and just looking back now, I knew that I ramped up my training too quickly and my overall running weekly mileage was way too fast. To prevent injuries, we essentially need to train within our adaptation zone. Train too little and the adaptation won't occur. Train too much and the body breaks down rather than builds up. For a comprehensive look in this topic, including ways to hack the adaptation cycle, you can watch this video that I created, which I'll add a link in the description. Okay, so the scoreboard is 1-0. On to number 2.
Warm up before you run. This allows your muscles to become supple and ready for exercise.
You may find this surprising, but if you are a recreational runner, a warm-up may not be as important as once thought. This is a different case if you were to jump straight into hill sprints, but for a long distance running event, research has never found a correlation between a warm-up routine or lack thereof and injury. The fact is, your body isn't producing a lot of power or moving through a large range of movement when running. And in fact, stepping out of bed, leaving the house and breaking into a slow jog is perfectly safe. But this doesn't mean you have to avoid a warm-up either, because some people may find it enjoyable and actually feel better when they run if they've committed to a warm-up routine. But based on the science, it won't reduce your injury risk. So it's a thumbs down for this one. Let's move on to number 3.
Stretch. Stretching helps reduce muscle tension and fatigue.
Again, the AI missed the mark on this one. I'll assume they're referring to stretches throughout the week outside of warm-up routines. For example, if someone's committing to 20-minute yoga sessions 3 times a week to help with their mobility and hopefully with the hope to carry it over into their running performance. While stretching very often may play some part in reducing the muscle stiffness, the need for it in running is quite uncommon. As I mentioned earlier, running doesn't require a large range of movement. Think of a gymnast or a dancer. These tasks require frequent stretches to maintain flexibility, but for many runners, it would be overkill and won't have any impact on injury rates either. There may be an exception, however, and that would be for older athletes who are just so stiff and so rigid that if they were to run without stretches, it would actually impact their running biomechanics. This is rare, but if it is present, perhaps more joint mobility exercises, such as mobility exercises of your hips, your knees, and your ankles, would be more appropriate rather than the static stretching of the muscles. So, unfortunately, it's another thumbs down. Here is number 4.
Cool down after your run. This helps your body to recover and prevent injury.
Sorry AI, but the research also fails to make this correlation. When I spoke to recovery expert Shona Halson on the Run Smarter podcast, she mentioned the benefits of a cool down and highlights the importance of unwinding after a session to enter recovery mode. But this is mainly for psychological benefits. And if you find you can mentally calm yourself after a run without a cool down, it's not that necessary. Shona did mention the physical benefits of a cool down, such as hot cold therapy and hydrotherapy, but said that it was more important if you had back-to-back events, such as multiple competitive runs on the same day, or if you had back-to-back races over subsequent days. While the idea of cooling down and flushing out the lactic acid to remove any other byproducts does seem reasonable, it doesn't really stack up in the research. If you're looking for a bit more detail on warm-ups, cool-downs, and stretches, I'll add this video in the end screen. So, it's another thumbs down for me. Let's see if the AI can turn things around with number 5.
Wear proper running shoes. Invest in a good pair of shoes that fit your feet properly.
I found this statement a little bit broad and a little bit vague. Yes, it is obviously important to wear the right size shoe, but what is a good pair? It's hard to say. It might surprise you, but research fails to correlate foot shape and shoe type. That's right. If you walk into a shoe store and they say that you have flat feet and therefore require a stability shoe, be polite yet skeptical. Instead, try a variety of shoes and choose the one that feels the best. This is because the one that feels the best will most likely be the right size and facilitate your unique movement pattern, also referred to as your preferred movement path. Make sure the length of the shoe leaves enough space for the toes, especially because the foot does swell up a bit for long distance running. And also make sure the toe box at the end has enough width for your toes to splay out. Even though the AI's statement was a bit vague, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and agree with this one, so I'll give it a thumbs up. Okay, with 5 statements down, let's have a look at the halftime scoreboard. So far, I agree with 2 statements and I disagree with 3. Let's hear from AI's 6th statement.
Pay attention to your body. Stop running if you experience any pain or discomfort.
This is an obvious one, but it's also an important one, because most stubborn runners will keep running through soreness with the mindset of let's just push through the pain. As a physio, I see these runners all the time. They convince themselves that they have an innocent niggle and they persist for weeks and sometimes months, and it gets to the point where it's aggravated so much where this niggle now dictates their training. So all of a sudden they can't run long distances, they can't do shorter, faster sessions, or they can't train within certain shoe types. And when their injury becomes so debilitating, that's when they reach out to me and they pray for me to fix it as quick as possible. But I don't blame runners either, because it's really hard to try interpreting what is healthy muscle soreness compared to an innocent niggle compared to a serious injury. It's really hard to do. But if you'd like more insight on this topic, check out this video that I created that helps you decipher DOMs from niggles and from injuries. This video also includes how to know if an injury is just around the corner, even before the first onset of symptoms. So statement number 6 also gets a thumbs up. Okay, now number 7.
Stay hydrated. Make sure you are getting enough water throughout the day.
This one didn't really hit the mark for me. While staying hydrated, obviously good for your health, good for your well-being, I can't say that it has much effect, if any, on the likelihood of you getting injured. So it's a quick thumbs down. Let's move on to number 8.
Strengthen your muscles. Incorporate strength training into your routine to help prevent injuries.
This is a slightly more controversial topic, because while I strongly advocate strength training to increase your running performance and to reduce your risk of injury, there isn't much robust evidence to firmly say that strength training will reduce your injury risk. In theory, it makes a ton of sense, which is why I suggest it. Remember at the start when I said that running injuries were due to overload? Well, if we could raise the overall capacity of your body through strength training, this would allow you to tolerate a greater training load. But the theory is yet to be proven. It may in the future, but the study design required would be very complex and very hard to conduct. But in saying that, while we couldn't point to evidence to give us the whole blanket statement to say strength training will prevent running injuries, we can point to research that supports strength training to prevent certain types of injuries, such as hip pain and knee pain. And there is a mountain of evidence to show that strength training helps runners recover from injury. So while I can't definitively pick one or the other, I'll give the AI a thumbs up for this one. Now, I was the most surprised at number 9 because it is rarely talked about. The AI states,
Make sure you're getting adequate sleep and rest days to help your body recover.
Listen closely. Sleep is the number 1 recovery tool you have. Forget stretching, forget foam rolling and massage guns. If you were to stack all of those passive recovery modalities on top of one another, you wouldn't get close to reaching the benefit of a good night's sleep. And why is this recovery so important for preventing injury? Well, your body doesn't adapt during your workouts. It adapts after your workout once you've undertaken the necessary recovery. In other words, you could develop an overuse injury even if you trained at the same amounts, but you just decreased your amount of sleep. And we can see this in the research too, with studies showing a 70% increase in the injury rates in adolescents with less than 8 hours sleep, and another study of 95 endurance athletes showing a significant increase in the likelihood of you developing an injury if you averaged less than 7 hours sleep per night over the course of 2 weeks. So for statement number 9, I'm giving this one a big thumbs up. Which, as we come into number 10, our scoreboard has 5 thumbs up and 4 thumbs down. Will number 10 leave an even split, or will it swing in the favor of the thumbs up? Well, the AI's 10th statement is,
Listen to your body. Don't push yourself too hard. Take regular breaks and slow down if needed.
Congrats AI, you have a thumbs up from me. In fact, learning how to run slow is a skill that many runners fail to learn and suffer the consequences because of it. Now, I've already ran out of end screen video suggestions because YouTube only allows 2. So here are the 2 I suggested earlier on the warm-ups, stretching and cool down, and detecting early signs of injury. But if you want to learn how slow you need to run to reduce your injury risk, I'll add that link in the description below.